What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming. It is time for some more StarCraft 2 commentary. Today I've got a PvZ for you between Pomi and Czech. Now we are on the map Tal'Darim Altar, spawning the lower left-hand spawn location. We've got Pomi as our yellow Protoss player. And then up over here in the upper right position, we have got Czech as the blue Zerg player. So yes, this is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg, Pomi versus Czech, starting off here on Tal'Darim Altar. It has been a little while since my last PvZ, so I'm more than happy to bring this to you. And taking a look over here, it looks like Pomi will be starting off with that Forge Fast Expand build, but with that pylon right at the front of his natural expansion entrance. This is going to be the best place for it. You may ask, hey Force, why doesn't he put the pylon here? Quite simply, because then he would have to cover this side. There is obviously an entrance right on over into that position. So the best thing is to come out with the pylon right over here and just go with that frontal wall off right to there. But I'm sure most of you know that by now, and I do not know why I feel the need to state the obvious. Pomi first checking the upper left-hand spawn location for Czech, and then he should be moving on over to the upper right position, at which point he will be scouting him out. Now what is Czech going to be doing? Is he going to decide to open up with one base play, or will he go hatch first? He hasn't been scouted out yet, so he does still have that opportunity to go hatch first without dealing with much disruption. But it looks like he has decided to actually open up on some one base play, going extractor first, allowing him to get that metabolic boost nice and early, and begin that spawning pool right after, and there we go. So now his hatchery won't be coming quite nearly as early. He could drop it anywhere in between 17 and 21. 21 being the latest possibility of him dropping it, simply because he will be dealing with this probe harass, and especially with the opportunity to drop a pylon, it makes it very difficult for a Zerg player to actually drop that hatchery earlier. And this is exactly the type of harass that we are going to expect here from Pomi. You can see right now he is prepared to kind of chill out over here with this probe and prevent that hatch from going down up until the point that some Zerglings are actually in play. Now back inside, right out front of the natural expansion rather, we can see we do have that forge in play already. Dropping that Nexus immediately after, and then here comes that first photon cannon. Should be coming here just in one moment. There it is, photon cannon next, and then of course we will be seeing gateway, cybernex core, all of that wonderful jazz here to complete the wall off for Pomi and prevent any early pushes of Czech from being that effective. Again, now we did notice the fact that he did go gas first, so as you can see, as soon as that spawning pool popped, he actually immediately started that metabolic boost. He's got 4 Zerglings coming on through, as well as 1 Queen, and actually Pomi deciding to leave before the Zerglings get there is going to allow Czech to drop this without having to deal with any additional harass, so Czech is able to get this out a wee bit earlier. Can see over here, very sneaky position as the probe hides behind all this shrubbery. You got a giant palm tree and some sort of a bush. Oh no, that's another tree, just a different type. I'm a little conflicted here in this map because typically you don't see palm trees with these type of trees, these leafy trees as well. Typically those two things don't really coincide. But what do I know anyways? I don't even know. I mean, we're on a different planet for God's sakes. Alright, 4 Zerglings now making their way across the map, but again, even with just that 1 cannon, they really don't stand much of a chance. Yes, 1 or 2 could sneak in while the other 2 died. That'd be a huge sacrifice, and I doubt Czech is actually going to bother doing that. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Gateway just about finished, so we're going to be seeing that cybernex core come out front here as well. For the time being, just relying on this 1 photon cannon. Metabolic boost is now finished over here for Czech, as you can see, just in 1 moment. And there it is. Looks like that may be a full wall off. Oh no, there is actually 1 spot right there, right next to that photon cannon for the Zealot to chill out once he does pop out. And actually, is he going to try to sneak on in with the Zerglings? He could, and he's going for it. Zerglings now inside of the main. Looks like he is trying to finish the wall off, and there we go, using a pylon to finish it completely, as this is going to be a little bit of a headache. Now, Pomi should be okay, but he could very well lose a few workers. It's really going to come down to the micro here. Already 2 workers killed so far for Pomi, so Pomi has already lost 2 probes. And the Zerglings now with that Zealot in play, we're going to have a little bit of a more difficult time, but especially over here with such low numbers. Here we go, Zerglings, time to go to town, getting at least 2 more probe kills. Zealot's trying to chase those guys away, now up to 4 kills here for Czech, and he has still got these 5 Zerglings inside of the main base, and that Zealot alone is really not enough. Once that Stalker comes into play, though, things are going to be a little bit easier for Pomi. Nice worker, Micro, getting right up and forming that wall, preventing the Zerglings from getting us around. Now down to the 3 Zerglings, and they're relatively injured, and it looks like the Stalker plus Zealot combination will finally be enough to take these out. There we go, the last of the Zerglings gets the final shot there. Stalker's going to try to take a couple shots on that Overlord. However, he should be able to make it to safety before he ends up dropping. So there you go, no problem. Ended up killing a few workers, 7 workers total. At the same time, though, obviously he lost some Zerglings. You can see 225 resources worth have been lost so far this game for Czech. Czech has got some decent saturation over there at the Naturals. A little oversaturated over here, actually, now that he has that Extractor. Looking a little bit better. Whenever you see workers bouncing back and forth, that right there, like that worker right there, that basically tells you that you're slightly oversaturated. So we would be better off bringing a few drones over to this expansion, especially once those extractors get up. I'll be interested to see if he tries to take a third, knowing the fact that Pomi does, of course, have that expansion up and running right now. We'll take a look at the worker counts for both players. 45 drones for Czech, 38 probes here for Pomi. So right now, Czech is slightly ahead. It's going to be the case, at least for now. We do have a robotics facility coming out. Pomi has not gotten any additional gateways. There we go, actually 2 more gateways being dropped. So going to be transferring into a 3-gate robe. Also coming out with that Twilight Council here. Very, very interesting. Could see Blink Stalkers. That is most definitely a possibility here from Pomi. Now he will have those observers coming on through. First one is being chrono boosted out at the moment. Total map control at the moment obviously going to Czech here, as Pomi really can't even leave his base. He fully walled himself in with this additional pylon after dealing with that Zergling run by there initially. All right, now Czech preparing to move into that 3rd base as he gets a full surround with the Zerglings there on those destructible rocks. So he should be getting that up sometime soon. Also starting to spread that creep there. He has got a total of 3 queens in play. We're going to start to see that transition into higher tech as he comes out with that Spire. Obviously, Layer is in play already. So we will likely be seeing some Spieling Muta opening here from Czech. We'll have to see how effective he is with those Mutalisks. We do have some Blink research as well as the level 1 upgrades actually almost finished. So we'll be Blink Stalkers here for Pomi. At least for the early stage of the game, he'll be opening up with this. As well as some Immortals there, as you can see. Lots and lots of Speedlings making their way across the map. Observer here of Pomi coming to the front over there of that natural expansion. Let's see if he checks that 3rd. Kind of expect him to. He's going to actually go first in the main because he does want to check what kind of tech he is up against. He wants to know if it's roaches and hydras he's dealing with, or what he will, of course, see is that Spire indicating quite clearly those Mutalisks. Now that expansion just about finished. He actually already transferred over some workers. They'll have to make a long distance mining over here to that hatchery, and the Observer is going to be able to catch those guys in transit there, as well as spotting that hatchery. Still have the Zerglings over here. I'm assuming these are going to be scouting Zerglings, as well as trying to deal with any small groups of units that move out to try to take those towers. Going to be trying to deny him that vision, or at the very least delay it. We do have a Dark Shrine coming out, so taking advantage of that Twilight Council. So in addition to Blink Stalkers, maybe seeing some DT harass here, possibly even some Dark Templar dropping if he happens to get a Warp Prism into play. Destroying those rocks, it does appear like Pomi is preparing to move out at the moment. A level 2 weapon upgrade also coming through. Now he just has this one observer here, and it looks like that is actually going to be the only one that he has at the moment. Yes, just the one observer in play. And moving out with that small group of units here, Pomi will be going to the rocks to try to get a 3rd base of his own. But here come the Mutas. We have 3 more in production, 8 in play already. Speedling's also preparing to hit the front. At the same time, the Mutas hit the back. Very, very nice tactic here by Pomi. Zergling's trying to get it. Nice wall off there, though, with that Zealot. Already the Mutas starting to go to work here on the resource line. Blink Stalker's pushing forward. 11 workers have been killed. No Mutas dropped quite yet. He's going to kill 1 Muta. There he is, getting at least 1. Trying to target fire down a 2nd, however, he is unable to. Oh, gets a 2nd, so 2 Mutas killed there. And now the total worker kill count is going to be at 15. Managing to catch the probe over there. Takes him out, but doesn't take out the pylon. There we go, moving back. Should be, yeah, you need to grab that pylon. That's obviously going to be a huge headache if you don't. Actually, just about to finish that Dark Shrine. Is he going to be able to warp one in at a time? Looks like the answer to that question is a no. I'm assuming he was attempting to warp in some DT, especially later in the game. Czech is very likely to expand over into this position, and possibly quite over here as well. In fact, you can see that next hatch already planned to drop right there as the drone makes its way on over. Some nice creep spread here from Czech. He's continuing to work on that Muta count. Now it's 16 with 2 more about to come into play. A level 1 flyer attack also coming through. Here comes those DT. All right, already we have got 4 in play here for Pomi. So Pomi's moving out with those DT. He's got 2 moving into this position. 1 checking for a hatch over there. Another 1 checking over here. He's likely to force the cancel over here and do a bit of damage over here as well. This is actually going to be a huge, huge headache here for Czech. And Czech doesn't exactly have any counter harass or anything like that going on. So they got already forced to cancel that hatch. DT going to town over here. Let's see how many workers killed. 8 so far. And that number is going to climb and climb until we get some cloak detection over here. There we go, 2 Overseers in play. Now going to be able to move on forward with those as well as those mutas to take out these 2 DT. And let's see what he's able to do. There we go. Quickly takes out those 2 DT. All right, so we have this one over here still. There's an observer over in that position, and we'll be just chilling idly over here. Again, Czech is likely to expand at some point, so just chilling out with that DT isn't the worst thing because he will severely delay that expansion once we eventually see a drone move on over to there. Speedlings continuing to move across the map. Nothing going on with these mutas here. So Czech isn't being very active at the moment. We take a look at his vision. He's got nothing really going on, controlling these towers and just kind of, there we go, finally masked up that muta count, and he's preparing to push out. He does need to do some damage here. We do have a couple more DT coming out. Now there's a total of 4 in play. 1 scouting out over here, 2 moving across the center of the map, and then we knew about the one over here. It looks like he didn't move though. Very interesting. Okay, there's a couple of DT over here, and wow, lots of DT for Pomi. You don't actually see this high a count of Dark Templar in these games. Usually you just see a few warped in to try to do some expo harass, but not a ton more than that. Trying to move forward with those mutas, get some Blink Stalkers right underneath the bulk of his force there, take some losses without doing any damage whatsoever. He'll be clumping up those mutas. That's going to be a problem once those Archons come into play, though. He really needs to try to make sure he's not clumped up once he eventually does engage those. He's going to be actually trying to force the cancel, and he does. Very nice muta harass there, forcing the cancel over in that position. We still have 1 DT sitting idly over there. A couple of mutas preparing to try to engage in this position. He's going to be dealing with some Blink Stalkers, and here he goes, blinking right underneath. Gets 1 muta kill. Almost gets that second one. He is very low HP. Actually have a couple photon cannons over here. Looks like that will get taken care of quite quickly. Forced to cancel all of them, dropping the pylon, and then should be pulling back, as I don't know how much more effective this harass is going to be for him. Take a look at the vision here of Pomi, see what he has going on. Still just over here with that TT. He is making a push across the map at the moment. Looks like he actually may be moving into this position, so we'll have to see how Czech is able to defend against it. He's got Hive Tech almost finished right now in terms of upgrades. He's 0-2 here for the Zerglings. He's got some muta upgrades as well. 0-1. Carpus level 1 upgrades coming on through, and here we go. Going to be making a strong push right now towards this expansion. Let's see if Czech is going to do anything about it. No, he's moving out with a counterattack of some Zerglings, and that is it. Taking the loss there at that expo. He's still just on 3 bases. That's a huge concern here for Czech. He's got the big army push coming here from Pomi. Gonna be dropping down a few infested Terrans and preparing to drop some fungals with those infestors. This is a big push going on. At the same time, those Zergling counterattack appears to be doing a little bit of damage, engaging those zealots. So actually, yes, he does manage to take them out. Very nice. Those upgrades helping quite a bit. Now Pomi is 0-2 as well, without any armor upgrades though. That made it so that those zealots, while they were getting warped in, were able to get warped down much quicker, and he takes out that expansion. So this is actually not that bad for Czech anymore. I really thought that he was going to be in an awful position, being just on 3 bases, but he was able to force the cancel over here for the second time. That's going to help him out quite a bit. Muta's moving back here to engage, doing a little bit of damage. Stalkers blinking up, however, they are quite a bit late. Czech is preparing for a transition right now as he works his way up into a greater spire. Now that hive is finished, he's a little oversaturated in the main. Could certainly not hurt him too much if he actually brings over some of those workers to an additional expansion. Would really like to see him get up another expo, however this time maybe drop a few spines as well as a spore crawler to deal with any DT harass, and as long as he maintains vision of the center of the map, he should be able to deter any of those big pushes from taking out an expo. I would say right now, honestly, the safest expansion is probably that, as it's a little bit easier to get to than trying to move units all the way across and over here. So I think he should probably try to drop that expo again. We have another DT moving in that position to try to attempt to delay it, and also 1 DT moving right on over here. A couple of Roaches actually moving across the map. So again, Czech is preparing to transition into the late game, which it looks like it will be Roach and Broodlord primarily here. He obviously still has those mutas in play, and he's going to be utilizing those as much as possible. Luckily, he's also got some Overseers moving around. Definitely needs those because there's been a lot of DT. Let's see how many are in play right now. Just those 2 at the moment. One over here checking for expansions, another one checking over for expansions over here. And he's actually trying to search out for him, but unable to find them at the moment. Messing up with those mutas here. And how many does he have in play at the moment? Just 14. He could do quite a bit of damage with that. Pomi will be defending this position from any possible muta harass that he may be dealing with, but that's not going to stop those mutas from waltzing right into the main here and doing a bit of damage, possibly even taking out a warp gate before we see a response here. So let's see what happens moving forward. And Blink Stalkers again pushing them back. Archon's very scary to clumped up Mutalisk. You need to obviously be incredibly careful about that. We idle Archon sitting in the center of the map at the moment, and these 2 DT still trying to delay expansions. Now, let's take one more look at the upgrades here. at the moment. Air units are 0-1. We've got level 3 melee attack upgrades coming on through. That's going to help those Speedlings as well as those Broodlings quite a bit. You have to realize that those Broodlings, their damage upon land, once they are on the ground, they do damage just like a Zergling does, based on the melee attack damage. It's not based on the air attack damage. It's only that initial hit that the Broodling strike is actually affected by the air upgrades. A little magic box action going on over the Archon. That gets taken out very quickly. Overseer dancing around the map here with these mutas and able to take out that TT, and this is going to allow him to move into his 4th. Now actually 4th is over here, so he'll be moving into a 5th expansion in this position. All the Speedlings that we're scouting out over here do get mopped up by Pomi's forces as Pomi is preparing to move into a 4th of his own. Now we will obviously, as you can see, be seeing that Broodlord transition very, very heavy. I wonder when he will be waiting to push out. He's got the level 2 flyer attack upgrades almost done, as well as those level 3 melee attacks. Again, both of those upgrades are going to help the Broodlords, the air attacks with that initial strike, and the Broodlings affected by that ground damage. Nice to see these adrenal glands as well. So once he gets transitioned into more Zerglings, that's going to be very, very effective. Oh no! Catching a bunch of High Templar out of position, and that is terrible. That was a heavy resource loss there for Pomi. Definitely not something that he wanted to have happen. You can see right now Pomi is quite a bit behind, about by 1,000 resources. Speedlings trying to engage over here. Way too many cannons for that small amount of Speedlings to do much of any damage. A very vulnerable expansion over here at this position as it is not defended, and actually very surprised that Czech still has this Naga Tower. Looks like he will get denied that sometime shortly. And I do believe, oh no, Pomi hasn't scouted out that expansion, but he is mobilizing at the moment. We've got that Observer Scout, so has been able to actually spot the fact that Czech has transitioned into Broodlords. What does he have for a response? So Blink Stalkers, certainly a good one to that. We've got a Baneling Nest coming out. This is unfortunate though. These DT are going to drop this before we can even see a response. It's going to be effective enough to take him out, and there it is. The hatchery gets taken out. Now we should be able to take out these DT as he got the Overseers right there, but losing that hatch, really awful. He still has this expansion over here, and it has been hidden. This has not been scouted out by Pomi yet. It's been a while since he actually checked it down in that position. We're going to be seeing some more Muta Harass here, and this is just super macro heavy game. This is crazy. Just constant upgrades here from both players, and there we go. Czech preparing to mobilize there with those Broodlords. Now he obviously needs a defensive measure for them, using Roaches and Speedlings, as well as Funga Growth there from those Infestors. Anything he can do to keep those Blink Stalkers at bay, that is really what he needs to do. We'll be sitting idly with a few units over here to try to prevent any more DT pushes on this expansion from being able to take out another hatchery. You know, Czech's been losing so many bases. It's very, very unfortunate. We've got a lot of Blink Stalkers moving across the map now with a couple of the Archons as well, some Immortals and a Zealot. And uh-oh, here come the Broodlords, spotting them with that Zelnaga Tower. Pomi decides to blink back as opposed to engaging. I think he feels that that's a little bit too daunting of a force. And this is unbelievable. We're going to be seeing a Mothership come into play. In addition to that, some transition into some Void Ray action. The Void Ray is very, very effective at taking out those Broodlords. He's got just the one in play, but with Blink Stalkers as well, I think he actually should be able to do a fair amount of damage. We still have some DT in play, just 3 DT in play. I'm not sure where they are. Let's take a quick look at the vision over here. There's 1 DT sitting over here. There you go. All right, so we got a push right now coming out for Czech. At the same time, Pomi's armor. What is he going to do with his army? Is he going to engage the Broodlord Muta Force over here? Or is he going to decide to counterattack? That's the question of the day. Again, we do have that Mothership in play. Going to be very interested to see how that all goes down. Here come the Broodlords, though. Engaging those cannons. We'll be taking out that expansion very quickly. Check out those Broodlings. 1-3 upgrades there. They're going to do so much damage. And they drop that Nexus incredibly quick. Oh, Broodlords, how much damage you do. If you weren't so slow, I would love you much more than I already do. But I don't know what I'm even talking about. All right, so we got 1 TT over here taking out that expansion. Pomi just kind of dancing around with his forces right now. I'm not sure. He needs to actually move down to try to engage this. He is now down to just pretty much 1 mining base, as his main and natural are all out of resources. And we do have that expansion fairly well saturated over here for Czech. Czech had managed to defend that expo, which is phenomenal. He's going to be able to transfer over some workers and start to get some nice resources from over there. Economically, it looks like Czech is in a stronger position at the moment. And yes, that is confirmed here. We're going to have Blink Stalker Archon Force push from the backside. Keep in mind, we do have that Mothership into play. That's going to be something that Czech is going to have to deal with. He does not have Neural Parasite. Pay attention to the fact that he does not have Neural Parasite. That's going to make things a huge issue. And actually, the force is slowed up right now by these infested Terrans dropped on the ground. We get that mothership coming on forward, and I'm not sure what Czech can do about that. There is a Vortex. He's walking all of his units into it, walking a majority of his units into it. That's a huge mistake, and actually, right now, because of that Vortex, he's having a hard time getting up under these Brew Lords, and Czech is able to do a lot of damage as a result, turning around, and he, oh my gosh, he's got enough. He's going to be able to take out this. No, he doesn't have to take out the Mothership. Mothership is still in play. Keep in mind, though, we've got an Overseer in play, and with that Overseer, he can still spot these forces. Stalker's not blinking up under the Brew Lords at all. Fungal Growth going down. That's going to help get rid of some of that Cloak as well. Blink Stalkers right under the Brew Lords. Some massive storms on top of the Brew Lords as well, but those Brewlings are still doing so much damage, tearing through a lot of the army here of Pomi. It looks like he will have enough to take this out, though. Czech has lost his entire force in that engagement, but let's not forget, there's no mining going on right now for Pomi. Pomi is SOL when it comes to resources at the moment. And here we go. We're going to see, because of this huge resource advantage, 7 Ultras coming out, as well as a crap ton of Zerglings. We've got 47 Zerglings in play at the moment. He's got a lot of Zerglings and a ton of Ultras coming on through as well. Got a couple of Roaches in play. Those ones are sitting idly over here. We're going to see those Blink Stalkers move forward. I'm going to be really concerned for this ground force here, Pomi, as soon as we do see those Ultras come into play. I'm not sure. Yes, we still have the Mothership, but that thing is so slow. And actually, Speedlings, with their upgrades, taking out the Nexus. And there are literally no resources right now for Pomi. He's got no mining going. He's got these 2 little patches. He's got a 3rd patch over here, and that is it. That's a huge problem. Pomi realizing that he's in a tough position when it comes to economics at this point in the game. He is going to push out. Needs to take on expansion. Big problem, though. He still doesn't know about this. He doesn't have the faintest idea that there's an expansion down here, and that is going to be an issue because that's going to put Czech tremendously ahead economically, as if he isn't already. 5 more Ultras coming out. Already have 7 in play. Is he going to sack this Expo, or is he going to try to engage it? Here come the Ultras, Speedlings, and Banelings. Mothership is about 1,000,000 years away, and actually Corruptors will be intercepting that. He drops the hatch. Storm's going down on the Banelings and Speedlings. That's going to be nothing to those Ultralists, though. The Mothership was dropped. Ultras will start to tear through these forces. He's actually losing quite a bit of them. We're going to be seeing some of these Corruptors move down to engage, drop some of that Corruption. Blinking under them, though, he's going to be doing a bit of damage. He has managed to take care of those Ultras, but again, doesn't matter. Czech has still got a mining base, and that is something that cannot be said at the moment for Pomi. He's actually trying to remote mine from over here. He's going to be dealing with some Speedlings, making that a whole lot more difficult. And we've got 3 more Ultras coming out. We already have a ton in play, and he's going to be pushing on down and should have enough to push back these forces at the moment. Now, Pomi can do a lot of damage to those Ultras, but he can't let them get up to those Stalkers because they will tear right through them. And so we're going to see Pomi actually run back right now, blinking forward with the Stalkers. Is he going to bother turning to engage? No, it looks like, oh, there we go. Finally turning around to engage and trying to set himself up in a nice position. Ultras realizing they're not in the best spot at the moment. It's time to push back. Blink Stalkers moving forward. It doesn't drop the Ultra. The Ultra is still alive. We're going to see some transfuse action going down on them as well. More and more units gathering up here for Czech. Czech's still got a mining base. And there's 0 income right now for Pomi. Pomi just has nothing going on. Doesn't even have enough to drop another Nexus. So all he's got at the moment are the current forces. And because there isn't, this game is over. This is unbelievable. What an unbelievable game. But right now Pomi is just in so much trouble because he has no income. Again, StarCraft is a game of income. With no resources, there's not a lot you can do. And all Czech has to do now is make sure he denies any additional expansions. He already knows there's nothing over here. Scouting with some Zerglings, he's going to spot if any Expo tries to get dropped over here. And here come masses of Ultras. So Czech can afford to lose these. As he does still have mining going on, he can afford to kind of just throw his units against these forces and not be too concerned about it. And we're going to see Pomi actually try to move back. He will be attempting to take out those few Zerglings there. Doesn't even have the time to kill all of them. Actually, he might, but he's got to be careful because it's not going to be worth killing a few Zerglings if you're going to lose all your forces there. As those Ultras continue to push closer and closer. Blinking behind the wall there. Let's see what he can do. We get the Archons. They, of course, cannot blink. And we're going to see those Ultras go straight for them, dropping down the Archons. They'll be down in just 1 second. Nice feedback there on the Infestor. Blink Stalkers doing what they can, and actually it is enough to keep Czech at bay at the moment. Need to be careful, though, with these guys. Ultra going right up to the High Templar. Should be able to get at least the one. No, actually forced back. to the safety of the rest of his forces and turn and face right now. There's a nice fungal growth, getting a majority of those stalkers, and that is a problem because Pomi doesn't have anything else left, and he just leaves the game. Oh, what a game, number 1. Alright, my friends, that was game number 1 here between Pomi and Czech. We'll be moving on to game 2 in just a moment. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.